So then we are back with more understanding from the time of the Second Tabernacle Services, where we find in the Aramaic English translation of the word. This translation comes from the original manuscripts of the prophets of the Tzayelic lineage. So then we can understand the time of the end period Shiach the prophet. We find in our time of the restoration, starting in 2009 until prior of the time of the autumn feast. So let's understand and get our bearings from the instructions. There are lots of talks after the visit of many nations in China a while back. A lot of situations taking place. Let's evaluate what went on. When we locked in our understanding of the instructions, we must understand, prior to starting any conversation, we understand the Messiah said the freighters of the earth, they are going to be in charge. There is no way of wavering and deviating from. So then, let's evaluate what went on in China. We understand with no shadow of a doubt, China won't ever have any kind of economical crisis. So let's clear away our minds from any manipulation of the media. China is the kingdom of the East. In a very short time, the kingdom of the East is going to be 100% protected from the other systems of the world. So then we understand the 11th chapter. Then you find the kingdom of the North is the planner. The kingdom of the South is then raw materials. And then the kingdom of the East is the protected factory. Thus the starting of the engine of the future system. So let's understand what went on in China. Prior of the visit of the both PMs of Australia and also New Zealand, the radio stations in the Pacific, the shortwave listening post stations, they were involved with the many transmits, and it was absolutely positive, gearing towards the Asian market. The shortwave band was humming with information. There was an excitement beyond measure prior of the visit in China. Then the visit came a while back, around 10 days ago. Then when they came back, started a whole complete new understanding of their very own. Then you find United States printing out more money. Then you find in Japan matching up the printing out of more money. Then we find the Prime Minister of Australia coming back and then coming up with some education package where they won't be able to match the expenses. It's extremely expensive. Very expensive. Do the calculation. Then reforming the military regarding then the atomic submarines and the such, and then education, and then 4 or 5 more other projects, and then they have problem over there with people coming in boats. Those are very expensive. And then trying to come up with some understanding of reform of education because they got mesmerized with the old junks of the past. So let's try to understand where these scoundrels are coming from. They came back from there, from China, brainwashed. And obviously the United States got in the midst of it. They wanted the same old junk of the 1,000 years of deceit. You find then Japan printing out more money. United States matching up with the same printing out of money festival. Then you find Australia, surprisingly, rather than becoming what they were thinking of doing more towards the Asia market, then they went back to the junk. There is no way of doing those plans of the Prime Minister of Australia. It is so much. So let's make sure we understand what goes on, because the festival of printing money festival is going around. The governments of the world, they are trying to hold the power. Thus then, the festival are printing out more money. But the problem is, there is a system coming shortly in the next 36 months. Nations won't be able to hold themselves without the new system coming. Any system of any country is going to become subsystem. Then you find education, you find then military being updated, and then the asylum people coming from other countries and on the island over there, those are expensive. And then they are working, the Australians are working with the projection of the future. Now, wait a minute. Do they not have to have these cash then on savings to do the work? But they are projecting. Projection means print out more money. Come on, link your brain. A while back, the person over there responsible for the finances could not get the budget straightened out. There was already a hole in the system. Now this huge set of projects with projected income, you know what it was? Print out more money festival. So governments think they can hold the power. Oh, bad news. Very bad news. The Messiah already gave the answer. The freighters of the earth is going to be in charge. He can't be changed. And another situation is, since we understand the freighters are going to be in charge, liking it or not, this carbon control is absolutely bogus. Because Europe then are charging certain amount of money because of the carbon situation. You know what is going to come? The freighters of the earth, they are not very concerned with carbon control. Can be sure of it. They don't throw garbage in the rivers. They don't throw garbage in the ocean. But they are not interested in control of the environment. What they want are then roads. They want ports updated, refineries for fueling. You know, those basic situations related with freighting. So then when we evaluate understanding the Messiah, then he said, the freighters of the earth are going to be in charge. The Messiah is already in the future. If we could glance at the future beyond the horizon, you could already sense the Messiah's radiation of light is already over the mountain. He is already there in the future. We can't observe what's on the other side of the mountain, but the Messiah is already there. He's saying the Messiah, he's saying precisely the freighters of the earth, they are in charge over here. You over there on the other side of the mountain, the freighters of the earth are in charge. Work as if you understand at your time over there in the past, the freighters of the earth are in charge, you knuckleheads. He didn't say knuckleheads. But then the world is trying to print out more money. Then print out more money festival. You know what they are trying to do? They are envious because of the Chinese system. US is deadly envious because of the Chinese. Then Australia got envious because of the Chinese. Then they come up with these crazy ideas. Oh, let's try to match China. Wow, do you have the money to do it? No. Wow, we do a projection. Oh, what if it doesn't work? Well, print out more money. You know, what the heck? US is doing, Japan is already doing, they are matching up each other. Oh, what the heck? Let's make some plans over there, and if it does or not, we print out more money. Don't give me, oh, these people are experts. No, they are not experts. They are knuckleheads. They are stupid. Try to understand, the Messiah is already on the other side of the mountain. He's saying over there, the freighters are in charge over here. Make sure you understand where you are going. lined up your governments with the freighters, because when you get where the Messiah is at, or precisely where he's at, the freighters are in charge over there. Experts of what? Experts of stupidity? Watch America. We are wallowing around and wallowing around and wallowing around. And the printing out more money festival goes on. So then when the people go to China, they begin to be envious. Then they try on their very own. Let's try to match up what China is doing. No, we can't. If we could match up China, we wouldn't have the system. So let's make sure we understand this carbon junk. Don't be concerned with this carbon junk. Understandably. Let's try to understand these from A, B, and C. Okay, we locked on. Freighters are in charge. Freighters are not very concerned with the environment. They do the basics. They don't throw garbage on the road. They don't throw garbage on the ocean. They don't throw garbage in the rivers. And they try to maintain their equipment. More than plenty. More than enough. Then comes the Chinese system. Shortly 36 months. Because the US money won't hold anymore. We have another 36 months and then the market can't match it anymore. Thus, then the Chinese system comes, you download in your computer and make the proper adjustments. Very smart. Doesn't that sound there is a creator from behind? Stabilizing the world's market because people are incompetent, came out of 1,000 years of deceit, and what did they do? Nothing. They only destroy the whole planet. Mostly. Incompetent. Satan is incompetent. Then the Creator has to step in, otherwise the world then halts. So then, time of restoration. We find in ourselves during the time of the restoration. What has the Messiah said? Chapter 1:8 of Galah. Does it belong in the autumn feast? No! What belongs in the autumn feast? Sounds of the shofars and the cups. Isn't that time of vengeance? What do you understand of vengeance? And that day, and then the sound of the shofar. Vengeance, sound of the shofar, autumn feast. The rest of it doesn't belong there. There is a section of it there, post autumn feast. Because you have to line up then Ezekiel the 38th chapter, the new capital of the world, and also Yeshayahu the 65th and 66th chapter. But then people don't know how to later. But they read that stupid portion of the scripture, line upon line, precept upon precept. Doesn't exist. It's a layer upon layer. What did the Messiah say? Not a layer of understanding of the instructions is going to be left undone. Is that a word? No. Layer of understanding. So the freighters are in charge. Carbon is not going to be a big deal in the future. The governments are going to be absolutely in panic. You're going to find simple trucking, simple mining, simple roads, simple carts, taking, for instance, mining ores out of the mines, going to the port, loading on ships, and there the ship goes. Simple. Can other countries rely on Europe? Absolutely not. They are entangled. The Eurozone is breaking. If you don't understand by watching then the news, you will kind of try to retrospect yourself with the news and then understand the euro is breaking. Can you rely on information coming from Europe? No, they are entangled. What's going to save them is the Chinese system. Because it's pure trade. The rest of it is bel-system. Then you have Christianity and other kind of a crap and 10,000 denominations, and then none of them know what's going on, and then it's the same stupidity. Bel-system. And pure trade coming from China. But then they go to China and they get mesmerized and they try to match up. How are you going to match up this system? Don't you read the Bel and the dragon in Daniel? Oh, because Daniel has only 12 chapters. No. It's got a couple more chapters. Read the Apocrypha. Bel and the dragon, what does it mean? Any kind of a lineage of Bel, Babylonian, is dealt with the northern kingdom. And the Chinese dragon then is secluded. Because the Babylonian system has proven a piece of junk. 1,000 years of deceit, Babylonian, and crap, and calculations of calendar of their own, in Gregorian calendar. It didn't work. That's why then when the system comes, a pure trade. If the government is not in line with the freighters, oh, bye-bye. No politicians. How do we understand this with certainty? How do we understand this with absolutely the utmost certainty? Time of restoration, what are the guidelines? What is the measuring stick? The instructions. What is the focus point? Tabernacling. But then the Gentiles were included. You know what it means? Since they are included, government is not important. So then Ishmael was a king. He started out as a king of freight company. Try to understand. Ibrahim then went to Egypt. Then he got Hagar, some other servants over there, because he kind of made an excuse because of his half-wife, half-sister. There was a famine on the land. Came out of Egypt, very nice and rich. Then he fought a war. They got more than riches yet. Then Ibrahim had a son with Hagar, Ishmael, because his previous wife couldn't bear children. Well, he was treated very nicely as a king. Then he got the inheritance from Ibrahim. He started his own company. Freighter company. Later on, Ibrahim then and his wife Sarah went on with the pilgrimage. Time for tabernacling. That's the second son. You read the Ezekiel 37th chapter, 2 sticks. Stick of Ishmael, stick of tabernacling. So what is going to take place? Freighters of the earth related with freighting. Freight is related with Ishmael. At some point, the Ishmaelites are going to take over because they have the most crude. So there is no government because the Gentiles were included in the plan. And then carbon? Not a chance. Simplest situation. Simple trucks, simple mining equipment. The whole situation very simple because there is no time of wasting. You know what they do in some parts of the world when they get trucks that are very complicated? They strip away from the truck any kind of electronic equipment of it. That's true. You can watch, for instance, in Amazon. There are trucks over there. There is only the engine over there and the basics. Electronics, the other crap is gone. And some of the truckers over there, they want so simple, not even cover over the engine has. Because when there is a fault, a problem in the midst of the forest, there's no time to F around with an engine. You have to go over there and fix the damn thing and continue on. Otherwise you get a snake behind you and eats you alive. Now let me ask you this. Since we understand money is going to be important, transportation is going to be important, what are these politicians ridiculous with the suit and ties who do not know how to put up a fence in their backyard? How are they going to tackle the fact of there is the Amazon, a huge area, no roads at times, being disbraved? In other words, they're going to open up roads over there to get the ores. Are you going to send a complicated truck with computerized systems and then this other crap? If you do, you are stupid. No, we're going to send the simplest, such as Soviet trucks. There is no BS in them. You get in there, you turn on the key and it works. You go over there to the mine, you load the truck, you go to the port. Simple, isn't it? Carbon? What is carbon? There won't time to play around with carbon because the freighters are in charge. We are experiencing a returning of the 50s. Try to understand the concept. This drag around of these governments' incompetence, those are going to be gone. Freighters of the earth. And then the IMF already gave the report 2 years ago. If we don't control our expenses, in 5 years, 2 years is gone. 5 years, we have 36 months. Then the monetary system will get ruined. And taxation system is a must. Instant taxation system via printing of labels. So then what the world is trying to do, they try to reverse what the Chinese has started. Prior to the visit, over there the Pacific was humming with great news. After the visit, they tried to go back to the old junk. Ridiculously stupid. How you are going to have, for instance, higher education? Let's talk about education for a moment. How are you going to talk about education when you have to have a simple technology? Either you got crap in your head or you are retarded. How are you going to tackle the Congo? Do you understand Congo? You know, in Africa, very rich place, you know where to get coltan. And they ask the politicians, do you know what a coltan is? You know, they give you that stare on your face because they are ignorant. But these days, the more PhDs people have, the stupider they get. It's amazing. Watch the stupidity of the system. Education, okay. What can we understand as far as what the angel told Daniel? The angel said, at the end of the time of the 1,000 years of deceit, knowledge would increase. Who was Daniel? He was a tradesperson. He was a freighter, related with deals coming from other countries. He was in charge over there in the court of the king. Make sure that, you know, trade must be up to date and always the king must be then briefed. That's the job of Daniel. Increasing of knowledge, increasing of what? Trade via computer. Then you find Panama Canal next year, then it's going to become available. Then the very large ships can go through the Panama Canal. No, but then the governments, they want to get back to the old junk. Let's talk about education. Freighters of the earth, you understand. Amazon then is a great potential for riches. In Africa, what is the relationship of the 11th chapter of Daniel and the kingdom of the north and the kingdom of the south? We understand they already have a relationship. But then, because of the kingdom of the north becoming further above what they used to be, greater than the former, What can you understand? Who was the Soviet Union? Yeah, I wasn't born during that time. Well, get yourself then the computer and study. Don't be an ostrich, thinking that God is coming down from His holy place over there in heaven and take us by the hand because we don't know how to do the work. Don't be an ostrich. Study. This means the kingdom of the north is the planner. How are they going to tackle Central Africa? Very simple. Robust equipment. And then the same way in Brazil, northern Brazil. Are you going to send up to the line, the top of the line truck over there, replete with electronics, LCD and sensors of many kinds? No. If you do, you are stupid. Do you understand what it is then? The environment down there? But then education, because we are in the post-modern education, you have to be educated. Let's match a couple bucks for a buck of the institutions, and that's education, education. What education? What is it related with freighting? What can you understand? Diesel mechanic. What do you do with education? You begin to open up more learning centers teaching how to fix a diesel engine. But some politicians don't even know why they use diesel over gasoline. What else is related with the freighting? Road construction, road equipment, mining, electricity, because you have to have then also refineries. So you teach how to people how to do the work. Is it complicated? No, but then they are trying to make themselves complicated because they want to take the leadership. They are no longer leaders. The machines are already on the other side of the mountain saying over there, radiating, the freighters of the earth are in charge. But they don't want the Messiah, do they? They have no choice. The system is coming, and it's coming very fast in a very short time. And then comes the faces of the politicians. Because we did not know. The world crisis. Scoundrels of the worst kind, they destroyed the economy in 2008. Nearly. Then the house bust. Scoundrels of many kinds trying then, let's have those loans for sale. Liar's loan. Then obviously the house got busted. Then comes the Chinese, very smart. Let's make a deal with them. Then the U.S. thinking they were smart. Get rid of it. Let them buy it. Sure, they bought it. Piece of junk, but they got the system. So they got mortgages in their system, already linked up with the Bank of China, but kind of, hide it a bit. When the monetary system fails, then their mortgages already in the system. They earn from the system, they pay their mortgage via the system. Always positive. Education. What kind of education? The engine already indicated the technology of 2009 was enough for the time of the restoration period. Simple CPU, computer, 5-decker, 2 terabytes each. Windows XP, the most popular. Place the computer aside. When the system comes, you have a signal over there and you do trade. With similar as using eBay and PayPal as the link. Chinese system is eBay, PayPal then is Bank of China. Then you link up your payments via then your system, the Bank of China, with your investments and what you buy and so on and so forth. There you are. You are your own banker. You are your own investor, your own purchaser. And the government doesn't get a dime. Because the government is stupid. And the printing out money festival for the next 36 months only. Then, bye. But then the government, wants to be hero. So then you find a couple of farts over there in Boston. The government is hero. Oh, let's give every resource available to make sure we find those scoundrels. Because of 2 bombs. What's more important, organizing our economy or going behind those 2 scoundrels over there and trying to find them? Then we put them in prison, then the country has to pay for those scoundrels. Because penitentiaries in the U.S. is same as a hotel. They don't do any work. You like your PhD? That's okay, the freighters. A lot of them don't have PhDs, but they're going to be above you. Can be sure of it, write it down. So if you want to become a person wise and you want some education in your country, invest in vocational learning centers. Simple. It is then diesel engines, ships, trucks, road construction, mining, and refinery. If you want education for your country, start with these. And these are for a fraction of the cost that it would if you come up with a huge plan. So something evil went on over there in China, not because of China's own influence. It's because the people that went over there became envious. And they came back home, let's try to organize ourselves. But the Messiah said the freighters of the earth are in charge. There is already a freighting system of the Chinese. They're going to be in charge. Then other countries over there with their bel system. Does it ring a situation? Bel system? The Belers? Let's name the Belers. Then the Belers go over there speaking with a dragon. And then the Belers, they get envious. Oh dear. Then the Belers, they get back home. Let's try to make up a system like the dragon. No, the dragon has its own system. Work in your subsystem and be acquainted with Mr. Joyce from New Zealand. He's very wise. Watched his video many times. He's working in the subsystem of New Zealand. Because he understands there is a system coming and we must be in a positive. That's why the backlogs are being cleared away. Because I don't like this. No, you understand how the prophets of Israel were hated. How you understand how they destroyed the prophets. If you hate this talk, it's because you would have destroyed the prophets of Israel also. And this talk was mild. Oh boy, the prophets of old, oh dear. They would talk in another tone. Much more penetrating. So then the Belers went over there to China and then came back. They tried to do on their own again. Money printing festival. United States, the leader of the printing money festival. Then Japan. Printing money festival. Then unfortunately Australia got in the midst of it. The Belers are joined up together. Let's hope New Zealand doesn't get involved in this crap. So why then it requires then the Northern Kingdom to become the Belers filtering system? How they understand? Whatsoever the Belers want to do won't work. So China obviously is tired of the Belers. They say they do, but they don't do. Then they give the word, doesn't get done. China has only a way and a way only to become then stable, making a deal with the Northern Kingdom. The whole plan of production, let Mr. Putin handle it. He only forwards those plans that are absolutely backed up by finances, raw materials, the whole deal then 100%. Only sends a piece of paper, this is what he got for you, Dragon. What do you think? Nice deal, let's put it through. No Belers going on to China anymore. Belers going through the Northern Kingdom. Oh dear, it gets filtered very fast. And then comes those periods, oh, but the problem is education. The problem is not education. It's reteaching people how to be simple. What can we understand of the retailers? The retailers are going down, are they not? Retail market is going away. In a short time, they are not going to exist. Only a few stores around because some people, they would not have computers. Then they go around the block over there to get a pair of pants or some shoes. You know those tiny stores when it used to be a boy or a girl? You'd get sometimes a couple of bucks from parents who would go over there and buy a candy. The retailers are nearly gone. You can get the same products for half of the price via the direct system. You get your parcel at home. Retailers are out of work. What is it going to be to make up for retailers? Freighting. When you exchange the amount of volume of the freighters and then you have more people buying as individuals, what can you deduce? Volume. If you want to do some work, if you have some capital, invest in a freighting company. This means that in the near future you have to have nations at port areas near the ocean. Wouldn't that be wise? Updating the port to make sure the dock then becomes updated for more ships? Wouldn't that be wise having a refinery near it? Don't we understand that Panama Canal is going to be opening next year? Do you understand what Chinese is going to do? It doesn't take much for a person to understand then Panama is going to be then, in quote, the Singapore of the Americas. And And if they are real smart, they can use the elevating system of the water when they elevate the ships. So then they make deckers, on the freight ships. You bundle the containers together in a big box, and you use railroad tracks, and you use the elevation of the water up and down. Then when the freighters are in charge, then they want more mining, do they not? They want more transportation. Come on. Well, South America, Trans-Amazon, east-west, north and south. Then you find simple ships coming from South America, going to the Panama, unload their cargo over there, gets loaded on another ship. China they go. So if we evaluate, our governments are replete with incompetent PhD stupid people. The more information they have, the more PhD, the stupider they get. The Belers. And the loading and unloading of ships using cranes, they're taking container by container, those are gone. You understand? Drive through, on the right side you have loading, left side unloading. If a person is real smart, can use such a canal with a lock on it, where you can elevate the ship up and down. You don't even have to have a heavy-duty crane to get those containers out of the ship. You use the elevation of the water. And the entire cargo front of the top deck can be removed at once. Via railroad goes directly to the distribution center where the trucks there, then the trucks get parked. The existing ports, you find the big ships over there docked on the side and then cranes on top, trucks around it, absolutely disorganized. Dire straits. Could clean it up. Remove the entire cargo, big square over there goes to the distribution center. The ship gets reloaded and drive through. But then the Belers, politicians with no knowledge, scoundrels of the worst kind, they get in the midst of it. Oh, education!